Hey, this is Matt with Alpha Analyst, and in this video, we're going to go over Excel's right-click menu. So this is the menu that pops up when you right-click on a cell or when you right-click on a picture. So this is going to be able to help you save a lot of time as you do your work in Microsoft Excel. All right, let's get started. So let's say that you have some text here. It says, let's go to the beach. If we want to edit that text, it is true that we could come up to the ribbon and we can come and say, okay, let's change the font to blue. Let's change the font to bold. So it is true that you could go up here to change the font. However, sometimes that's not the fastest way to do it. For example, let's say that the last tab that you clicked on was formulas. For you to be able to make those adjustments, you'd have to come all the way up here to the home part of the tab, and then you'd have to start clicking around, and it's kind of a long distance to go from where the text is to where the area is that you're trying to edit. So instead of having to worry about that, here's a quicker way to do it. You can simply put your mouse cursor on top of the text and then right click. When you right click, you'll see that you have a wide variety of options that are available to you. So let's start going over what these options are. So this option over here makes the text bold. This makes the text italic. Here you can center the text, and if you click it again, it puts it back to where it was before. This part of the shortcut menu, it enables you to change the fill of the cell. So you can change basically what the cell color is for the background. Here you can change the font. This lets you change the borders. So for example, if you want a thick outside border around the cell, that will let you do that. If you come over here to the right side of this shortcut menu, you'll see that you have other options to format cells. So let's say that we have some numbers typed in here. Let's do 123.45. Okay, so with the shortcut menu, if you want to increase or decrease the number of decimal places, you can do it here. So here we can increase the number of decimal places by clicking this button right here, or if we want it to be a smaller number of decimal places, we could click this button here. If you want to use the format painter, that's actually a very useful feature in Excel. You can use it right here. So here's how we could do that. We could right-click the area that we like, that has the formatting that we want to use, and then we can click the Format Painter. Once we've done that, you'll see that there's a little green box around it that's dotted. So if you come over here and you click on this section here, you'll see that it copied the format over. So basically all we did was we right-clicked on the first section that had formatting that we liked, we clicked the Format Painter, and then this format is going to be copied over to this section right here. Let's keep going over the other options. So let's say we want this to be a percent. So let's say that we have 0.88. If we want that to show up as a percent, we can right click on it and then choose percent, and you can see that it showed up as a percent. And you can obviously increase or decrease the decimal places. You can also change the font size. So if you right click on one of these cells, you can click this button here to make the text larger, or you can click this to make the text smaller. There's also a currency option, so you can click this to make the text show up as currency. And it's not just dollars. You also could use this drop-down box to change it to British pounds. You can change it to euros. You can change it to whichever currency that you like. And if it doesn't show up in this menu right here, you simply could click this that says More Accounting Formats, and this allows you to make some other adjustments. This option right here, the comma, let's once again type in some numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so if you come over here and you click the comma button, it basically changes it to number format so that you have the comma there and you have the decimal places. This icon over here on the top right, it's for merge and center. So let's say that you have a heading that you want to put in here. So the way that you can do that is you can right click and you can say merge, and then we can type in whichever heading you like, and that way the heading is on top of several cells. So sometimes that looks a little bit nicer as compared to some other options that are available. Okay, so we've covered a lot of options that are towards the top part of this menu, and I think the last ones are the font type and then the font size. So obviously we could change this to a different font. Here's a better example. If you go to Let's Go to the Beach, let's make the text a little bit bigger. So if you change here's what's nice about this menu too. So if you right click on it and you click on this font drop down box, you'll see that the font actually changes as we put the cursor over the other fonts. So just notice what the font looks like right now. As you go through the different fonts, you'll see that actually it will change as we go through. So as you're trying to pick out which font you like, you can use this to help yourself decide which font you like. And obviously you can use the drop-down box to change the font size, and you can also type it in. So if you instead prefer, you can type in, let's say 32, and that's a way that you can change the font. So when you right-click, there are some options up here which we've already covered. Down here there are other options, but to be honest, most of them are not used all that frequently. You could say that cut and copy could be used as pretty useful shortcuts. I personally prefer to use the Excel shortcuts for that, which would be Control X or Control C, and then to paste Control V. But it's really personal preference. If you prefer to copy using this functionality here, if you right click, choose copy, and then right click and choose paste, that's perfectly acceptable. So whichever option you prefer, go with it. There are often multiple ways to do the exact same thing in Microsoft Excel, so use whichever option you feel works best for you. Okay, let's cover some other shortcuts that you can get to by right-clicking. So let's say that you want to add a couple of rows in right here. Here's how you could do it. You could click on a row and then right-click, and you'll see that you have the option to insert a row. So you can right-click and choose Insert. And it's the same thing with columns. You can right-click a column and choose Insert. So we've talked about some of those options. Let's also talk about some menus that we have available with pictures. So when it comes to pictures, there's a different set of menus that you see when you right-click. So here you'll see the menu at the top. It allows you to choose which style the picture shows up as. So you can change it to this style right here where there's a circle around a sandcastle. You can choose whichever options you like. You can crop it. So if you want the picture to be cropped, you can come over here and crop the picture. I liked the way it looked before, so I'm going to uncrop that. You also have the option to do, as we saw before, cut, copy. You can change the picture. So if you don't like this picture, you can click this button to change which picture is showing up here. And here's a pretty useful feature as well. Bring to front versus bring to back. So to go over this, I'm going to touch on some shapes real quick. So let's say that we have a shape here. Let's say we want this rectangle to be behind the picture. If you want the rectangle to go behind the picture, you can right click it and say send to back. That basically takes that rectangle and it brings it towards the back. If you want it to go back, you can say right click and bring to front. And if you want if you want this picture that we're looking at, if you want that to show up at the front, you can right click and choose bring to front. So those are great ways to be able to adjust the picture and to be able to adjust which icons show up in front of or behind other icons. So I hope you found this video to be useful, and thank you very much for watching.